In the news this week, our refugee intake remains a key issue on the federal election agenda.
Plus, polls indicate a tight election race with no clear winners tipped.
And Scotland threatens another independent referendum after Brexit.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Lung and Daniel Stanislav.
Good evening. The refugee issue remains a major point at the federal election next Saturday as thousands march on the streets to mark World Refugee Day. Protesters are demanding Labour and coalition parties to make Australia a safe haven for asylum seekers.
As the federal election edges closer, the outcry towards refugee rights continues to grow. Hundreds descended in Fremantle to push the federal government to abolish mandatory offshore detention.
People here are opposed to offshore detention. They're opposed to the seemingly unending cruelty that we've seen in those detention camps.
A border protection boat model was leading the rally, with demonstrators chanting slogans as they go. Protesters hope changes will prevail to make Australia a better place for asylum seekers.
I think the rally's shown that a lot of people are concerned about the way both political parties have been treating asylum seekers. It's a bit of a political football.
Despite the strong campaign, the coalition remains steadfast about their policy of stopping the boats. Earlier this year, Liberal Party executives justified the policy on a program.
But of course have to balance things up with the fact that we can't have open borders in a country like Australia. We just don't have the resources and infrastructure to deal with that. So at some point, there needs to be some kind of limit.
Helene Fung, WAMN News.
With less than a week until Australians go to the polling booth, the polls have yet to indicate a clear winner. A lighter side of this protracted federal election campaign is that punters are trying to cash in on polling results. Nelson Liu has this election preview.
After 5 Prime Ministers in 6 years, Aussies are heading to the polls once again to determine the nation's PM for the 5th time since John Howard's election loss in 2007. Among the issues this coming weekend, tax cuts, people smuggling, negative gearing, education funding and cuts to health funding. The latest polls right now indicate a 3.6% swing towards Labor, which means a loss of 14 seats to the coalition. If you're unsure of who to vote for, you're not alone. Right now, 21% of the population is undecided. The race to the country's top job looks tight, with politicians believing it will come down to the wire.
I think so many people are disappointed and frustrated with Labor and Liberal and with federal politics in general. And from that, a lot of people are not sure which party they might end up voting for.
And lastly, betting for the federal election is now open, with Sportsbet offering odds on who will be the next PM. But with 6 sleeps to go, we won't have to wait long to find out who will be running the country.
The special inquiry into the Yarloop bushfire that killed 2 residents and destroyed more than 180 properties has revealed WA's bushfire management system is failing its citizens. The inquiry has highlighted deficient rural firefighting operations and urged fundamental changes to WA's fire management system, including a creation of a rural fire service.
I can see the merits in it. In particular, I'm exceptionally supportive if it means that we can do a better job of making the community of Western Australia safer. We can reduce fuel loads in a more coordinated approach. If it means we can coordinate firefighting assets differently, then obviously we will do whatever needs to be done.
As the political landscape in Britain and the United States confronts monumental change, new political groups have emerged to contest our own national poll next Saturday. One of them, the Mature Australia Party, says key plans in this platform are protection for our most vulnerable, pensioners and self-funded retirees.
We don't run around using babies as stage props. We are there to be a voice, a genuine voice, on behalf of the people that we represent, to take their wishes, their views to the federal parliament.
A portrait of Fiona Stanley has a new home in the hospital named to honour their patron. The portrait was unveiled at the hospital's main hall in front of the public and a group of distinguished guests. Health Minister John Day believes the portrait helps to recognise Professor Stanley's medical contribution to the state.
I think it's very appropriate to see a very large representation of her with this wonderful portrait by such an outstanding West Australian portrait artist, Mary Moore.
Well, I feel incredibly proud to have the hospital named after me and now to have this amazing portrait. It means lots of things actually.
As we reported earlier, Britain has voted to leave the EU after a historic referendum. This has now turned the spotlight on a Scottish proposal to hold a second independence referendum. UK citizens voted to exit the European Union with a 51.9% yes and a 48.1% no vote. After the final result was confirmed, British Prime Minister David Cameron announced that he would leave in October.
The will of the British people is an instruction that must be delivered. It was not a decision that was taken lightly.
But the vote across England and Wales was a rejection of the EU, and it was a sign of divergence between Scotland and large parts of the rest of the UK in how we see our place in the world.
And finally, this week, a mini Chinese concert was held in Northbridge featuring the latest pop hits. The performers are hoping the event will get bigger in the coming months.
The turnout is pretty good. We have got almost like full house. Tonight, today, this afternoon. It was a very surprisingly very good support from the local community.
When the audience sing along with you, then I feel like they're enjoying the song. Hopefully we'll have bigger stage in the future and more audiences and more chances to perform.
And those are the stories you need to know this week. You can follow the latest happenings on our website and Facebook.
Don't forget to join us next week for the wrap-up of the federal elections. Night-night.
Bye.